CIA chief and Russian national security advisor visit Delhi for talks. India mulls options as terrorists are named as ministers in the new Afghan government. Centre hikes wheat price by 2%, the lowest in over 10 years. Agriculture Minister says MSP is actually 100% of the production cost. Farmers say that diesel price hike has pushed up their costs. In a historic move, Centre tells Supreme Court that women will be admitted into the National Defence Academy for permanent commission into the Indian Armed Forces. Government clears deal for 56 Spain Airbus military planes. It's a deal worth over 20,000 crore rupees. At least one person dies and many are missing after two boats collided in Brahmaputra in Assam. Over 40 people are rescued so far. Prime Minister calls the Chief Minister, assures all help from the centre. Hello and welcome to NDTV 24/7. I'm Rohit Wellington. Let's begin with our top story. High-level security meetings in New Delhi as India mulls its options after terrorists were named as ministers in the new Taliban government in Afghanistan. National Security Advisor met with the CIA chief William Burns and the Russian NSA in New Delhi. Sources said that the two NSAs of India and Russia deep dived into security situation which may arise with the new Taliban cabinet announcement.
This man, Mullah Muhammad Hassan Akhund, the new Afghan Prime Minister, is among 17 Taliban ministers who's a UN-designated terrorist. Among others, the rarely seen acting Interior Minister Sirajuddin Haqqani, whose Pakistan-backed terror network bombed the Indian embassy in Kabul in 2008. 58 were killed, including 4 Indian nationals.
The new government of the Taliban, far from being a new and changed version, are the same group of hardliners that defined global terror in the late 90s and into the century. In New Delhi, the National Security Advisor met the CIA chief and the Russian National Security Advisor. India's Afghanistan policy over the last 2 decades has been closely linked to what the US does. But with the situation in Afghanistan being what it is, turning to Russia may be an option.
Moscow continues to maintain its Kabul mission, and ahead of the meeting of the Russian National Security Advisor Nikolai Patrushev with his Indian counterpart in Delhi, India's ambassador to Moscow, in a direct statement reported in Russian media, said that Doha talks with the Taliban prior to the collapse of the Ashraf Ghani regime have not yielded the right results. I think one lesson is that it is better that India and Russia work together with respect to Afghanistan. That is the most important lesson to us. A less publicized visit, and ironically on the same day as the visit of the Russian NSA, has been by America's CIA chief William Burns. Intelligence sharing and a joint strategy on handling terror was a part of the agenda. No photos of the visit have been released. For India, engaging the US remains critical to keeping an eye on Pakistan. So far, the ceasefire along the line of control continues to hold, but security agencies remain wary about any possible shift of terror groups from the Pak-Afghan frontier to the Indo-Pak border. With Neeta Sharma and Srinivasan Jain, Vishnu Shom for NDTV.
Now back home on a day when farmers continued to protest outside the Karnal administrative building with several demands including the rollback of the farm laws, the Union Cabinet approved increase in minimum support price for Rabi crops. And for wheat, it's 40 rupees per quintal, just a 2% increase, the lowest in over a decade.
Amid a fresh showdown with farmers, the centre has increased the guaranteed price for next year's wheat crop by 2%. In fact, this 2% increase is the lowest in over a decade. Farmers have been protesting 3 controversial laws which aim to open up the agriculture market as they fear that it will mean an end to this guaranteed price or MSP the centre pays. However, the government has a different explanation, that it's not a 2% hike but should be seen as a 100% hike as the MSP of 2015 rupees is double that of the cost of production.
21-22 में 1975 रुपया कुंटल का भाव गेहूं का था। गेहूं पर लागत 1008 रुपया आती है। अब 22-23 में जो भाव एमएसपी का तय हुआ वो 2015 हुआ है। न्यूनतम समर्थन मूल्य पर खरीद की दर ये 100% की वृद्धि एक तौर से लागत पर है।
1500 रुपये का तो डीआईपी का कट्टा गिरते हैं हम नीचे, और 1200 रुपये की थैली गिरती है बीज की, जो हमारे से 2000 को लेके और 100 रुपये किलो हमारा को देते हैं वापस। तो 5-5 कट्टे उसमें यूरिया के गिरते हैं, और
1 एकड़ में लगता है।
1 एकड़ में तो लगभग 15,000 रुपये खर्चा आता है 1 एकड़ में।
उन्होंने पिछले 1 साल के अंदर 25 रुपए से ऊपर डीजल का भाव बढ़ा दिया गया है। पेस्टिसाइड का भाव कितना बढ़ा दिया गया है, पर मैं धान के ऊपर बोल रहा हूँ कि 2600 रुपया खर्चा आता है, लेकिन हमें एमएसपी कितना मिलता है 1858 रुपया।
At a time when farmers have been protesting against the farm laws for the last 1 year, the government decided to hike the MSP of wheat. But this hike has been the least in the last 1 decade, which has certainly upset the protesting farmers.
The centre has also increased the MSP of other crops like masoor dal, barley and sunflower, as well as the ceiling price on sugarcane by 5 rupees, lowest since 2017-2018. However, these are not paid by the centre but by states or private buyers. With Muhammad Ghazali and Sunil Prabhu, Assam for NDTV.
Now, in a historic move, the centre on Wednesday told the Supreme Court that women will be admitted into the National Defence Academy for permanent commission into India's armed forces. The government, however, said that it needs some time to frame guidelines to pave the way for women to take the NDA courses. The Supreme Court has told the centre to file its reply by the 20th of September.
Sometime next year, the first batch of girls just 17 years old will get a shot at an enormous dream to become officers of the Indian Armed Forces, where one day they could rise to become a general, air marshal or admiral, perhaps someday even the Army, Navy or Air Force chief. Today, after much coding from the Supreme Court in an earlier hearing, the government said women will be admitted into the National Defence Academy, that is the NDA, the gateway to permanent commission in the armed forces. Unlike NDA recruits, women candidates are presently granted short service commission and only later considered for a permanent berth, a system that affects their growth prospects in the service. In today's hearing, the centre told the Supreme Court it's a delight to share this. Girls will be admitted in the NDA. The Supreme Court told the centre that they're extremely glad to know that armed forces themselves took a decision to induct females in NDA, and that the court wants them to take a proactive approach themselves in ensuring gender equality rather than waiting for courts to intervene.
जो है महिलाएं अब वो नेशनल डिफेंस एकेडमी में परमानेंट कमीशन के लिए आ सकेंगी और उनकी एंट्री होगी, और ये अपने आप में एक महत्वपूर्ण बात है, और सभी महिलाएं जो भविष्य में अपीयर होने वाली हैं उन सभी को बधाई।
Divyanshi Agarwal, who lives in Indirapuram in Ghaziabad, passed the class 12th examinations with 99%, and now she feels that with this decision, girls will soar higher.
मैं इस बात से बहुत ही खुश हूँ, क्योंकि मैं अपने देश के लिए एनडीए में जाना पसंद करूंगी। मैं आर्मी में जाकर अपने देश की सेवा करना पसंद करूंगी।
Shambhavi Singh, a resident of Noida who is studying in class 11, says that this will fulfill her dream.
ये एक बहुत ही बड़ा और वेलकम डिसीजन है। इस डिसीजन से हम सभी लड़कियां अपने मनपसंद की सर्विसेज, चाहे वो आर्मी हो, नेवी हो या एयरफोर्स हो, उसमें भाग ले पाएंगे और अपनी कंट्री को, अपने पेरेंट्स को प्राउड करा पाएंगे। और जैसा कि आप सभी जानते हैं कि लड़कियां ज़मीन से लेकर आसमान तक हर जगह ऊंचाइयां छू रही हैं।
In an interim order on 18th August, the top court had slammed the gender mindset of the army, forcing the government to act. Women are presently allowed entry into 10 arms of the army, but not the fighting arms. A decision to accept women into the army's infantry, armoured mechanized forces and artillery is still to be taken. The Indian Air Force has deployed women in combat roles and employs women fighter pilots. The Navy is also looking to progressively induct women on board warships.
The Supreme Court also said today that it was conscious of the fact that reforms cannot be made in a day and granted time to the government to file its detailed affidavit about the guidelines by 20th September. The next hearing in the case will take place on 22nd September. In New Delhi, with Vishnu Shom and Rajiv Ranjan, this is Sukirti Dwivedi for NDTV.
The government on Wednesday approved a deal with Airbus Defence and Space of Spain to buy 56 C-295MW transport aircraft, replacing Indian Air Force planes inducted some 60 years ago. Cleared by the Cabinet Committee on Security, the contract will involve the Tata Consortium manufacturing most of the units. The military transport aircraft will replace the aging Avros of Indian Air Force, according to a government press release. This could potentially cost between 20,000 crore to 21,000 crore rupees, although it will depend on the exchange rate. That's what sources have said. 16 C-295MWs will be delivered in flyaway condition from Spain within 48 months of signing the contract, while the Tatas will make 40 of them within 10 years. That's according to the government release. Some political news now into West Bengal, where Mamata Banerjee kick-started her bi-poll campaign in Bhawanipur by attacking the BJP, accusing them of targeting Trinamool leaders by deploying central agencies against them. Mamata Banerjee reports.
অভিষেকের উপর যদি কোনো বেআইনি কেস থাকে তুমি আইনত করো, আমার কোনো আপত্তি নেই, কিন্তু কোনো কেস নেই, কোনো এভিডেন্স নেই, তোমাকে প্রমাণ করতে হবে তুমি চোর। একটা ইন্টেনশন না থাকলে বুঝতে পারেন আজকে 9 ঘন্টা জেরা করার পরে বলছে তুমি কালকে আবার এসো।
A low-key start to her poll campaign with a small meeting of party workers. But her agenda-setting speech, high voltage, attacking BJP for deploying central agencies against her party leaders and even the Prime Minister for what she said was his failure on the vaccine front.
If co-vaccine is not allowed, how Prime Minister you are going to USA? We hope that before you are going to USA, co-vaccine must be recognized by the World Health Organization so that other people also get the opportunity.
BJP is big target and Bhawanipur a test of her bid to forge opposition unity against it before 2024. Congress is taking it seriously and will not field a candidate against her. The left will fight, but BJP admitted some potential names had backed off.
আমি তো বলে দিলাম কংগ্রেস দলের সর্বোচ্চ নেতৃত্বের সিদ্ধান্ত ভবানীপুরে মমতা ব্যানার্জির বিরুদ্ধে কংগ্রেস কোনো প্রার্থী দেবে না, কোনো প্রচার করবে না।
এরকম অনেক সাজেশন এসেছে, তো যা যা নাম আপনারা ভাবছেন বা মিডিয়ায় চলছে সবই লিস্টের মধ্যে আছে, তার ভিতর থেকে চয়ন করে আমরা দিল্লিতে পাঠাচ্ছি।
Mamata Banerjee has won from Bhawanipur in 2011 and 16. Her party is confident of a hat-trick.
One of Mamata Banerjee's many messages to her workers as she set the ball rolling for her elections was, don't take this vote lightly. It's important in the context of 2024. Clearly from the soil of Bhawanipur, Mamata Banerjee has her eyes firmly set on New Delhi. With G.D. Shankar, Mamata Banerjee, NDTV.
Some tragic news coming in from Assam. At least one person has died and many are reported missing after 2 passenger boats collided in the Brahmaputra River and one of the boats capsized. Rescue operations are on. Prime Minister Modi has called Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma and assured all help from the centre. A toddler rescued and rushed to hospital at Nimati Ghat, 350 kilometers east of Guwahati, where 2 passenger ferries collided in the middle of the Brahmaputra. One of the boats, SB Tikrai, of the state's Inland Water Transport Department, was coming from the island district of Majuli to Nimati Ghat. The other boat, a private one named Ma Kamla, was going in the opposite direction. Videos from the collision site showed Ma Kamla capsizing even as some passengers desperately held on to it and others jumped into the river. Luggage and motorcycles and cars on board the ferry were washed away. State Disaster Response Force officials were on the spot for rescue operations.
और अप्रोक्सीमेटली जो हमारा नंबर है कि 75 to 80 आदमी इस बोट पे होना चाहिए। बोट जो है निमाती के पास में कैप्साइज हुई है, 2 बोट में टक्कर हो गई। अभी तक में ये कंफर्म डेथ हुई है। और बाकी हमारे 42 रेस्क्यूड हैं। और जो हम लोग फिगर देख रहे हैं कि अप्रॉक्सीमेटली अभी हमारा 30 आदमी मिसिंग है। रेस्क्यू अभी ऑपरेशन चल रहा है, हमारी बोट्स जो है वो घूम रही हैं, रात में भी हम लोगों का रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन चलेगा।
Home Minister Amit Shah spoke to Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma, who asked Majuli and Jorhat district officials to deploy NDRF as well. Union Minister and former Assam Chief Minister Sarbananda Sonowal, who is the Majuli MLA, pressed Ministry of Shipping and Waterways into service. According to last reports, one rescued woman passenger died of injuries in hospital. At least 20 people are still reported to be missing. With Ratnadeep Chaudhary, Bureau Report, NDTV. Wednesdays in Karnataka are now the day of the week where the state is pushing for an extra boost to its COVID vaccination drive. On other days of the week, the target for statewide vaccinations is at least 5 lakh doses. On Wednesdays, it doubles to 1 million doses. Maya Sharma reports.
Wednesday, the day Karnataka doubles its daily COVID-19 vaccination target. Banners going up at the location of a free vaccination camp, letting people know that they can just walk in to get their first or second doses.
ತುಂಬಾ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ತುಂಬಾ ಇಟ್ಟಾಡ್ದು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. 5 ನಿಮಿಷ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಬರೀ 2 ನಿಮಿಷಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಕೆಲಸ ಮುಗೀತು. ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ಲ.
It happened in few seconds. We just went and the registration happened in like within 30 seconds, and we're very happy about that.
The day's target is 1 lakh doses in Bengaluru's BBMP zone alone. On Wednesdays, extra vaccine doses are brought to each camp location. There are 2 in each assembly constituency.
We have to get extra doses, especially on the vaccination mailer, and there will be an announcement all around people who have not taken the vaccine, and we have moving crowd which will be coming in to get the vaccination done. So we have an auto where they do an announcement that there is a vaccination happening at this place from this time to this time.
If there are smaller crowds at these camps than seen earlier, it isn't necessarily a bad thing. Bengaluru has achieved 75% coverage for first doses, and over 4 crore people in the state have been fully vaccinated. Karnataka set itself ambitious targets for vaccination, and people are seeing banners like this and walking into free vaccination camps. Wednesday is a day when there is an extra push, and these camps work for longer hours in a bid to get more people to actually come in. The target for the state? To make sure that every eligible adult is vaccinated by the end of 2021. With Govind Murthy, Maya Sharma in Bengaluru for NDTV.